Welcome to DIYEasyCrafts.com, how to make a carved wood St. Patrick's Day top hat decoration. Now this top hat is carved from one solid piece of 1x12 pine. The clover is actually cut out with a router, and it's finished with a green and black wood stain. Now I started by just drawing out the top hat on a piece of 1x12, and I was originally going to cut out the clover and glue it on, but I found a small enough router bit and I figured I'd just router out that clover. So this is a very, very simple do-it-yourself project. I actually started with the router, and I'm going to router a line along the top of the headband of the hat. And then I'm going to also router another line along the top of the hat belt. And I'm really just now lowering the whole level of that belt. And what the end result is going to be is I wanted the hat band to stick out a little bit further than the belt on the hat. I'm really just making a different level on the wood. So I retrace my lines that I'm going to cut out. The band on the hat is going to stick out a little bit to the left and a little bit to the right of the hat itself. And then I'm going to redraw that shamrock, which I wanted to be on that hat belt or hat band. In drawing shamrocks or clovers is very easy. Basically just drawing three hearts. You draw a little heart shape up top, and then one to the left and one to the right. You could do the exact same thing and make a four-leaf clover. You certainly don't have to be an artist. And then a little stem down. And then I'm going to go back to the router. I'm going to set the smallest router bit that I have just a little bit deeper. It only has to go in an 1/8 inch, or if you wanted to go in a 1/4 inch, that would be fine. And I'm just going to slowly router out the inside of that clover. You can actually look through the router and see what I'm doing. So that's one third of the clover done. I'm going to go back and finish it up. But if you didn't have a router, you could certainly cut that out of 1/4 inch ply or thinner wood and just glue it into place. And you end up with pretty much the same result. The next step is going to be to cut out the outline of this top hat. I just did that with a jigsaw. It goes very fast. If you note, I do most of my jigsaw cutting right over a garbage can. This way all the little pieces fall right into the can as I'm cutting. Alright, so now the top hat is cut to shape. The hat band is at a slightly lower level than the rest of the wood. And I'm just going to go to a disc grinder with a flap sanding wheel. That's a sanding wheel that has multiple layers of sandpaper on it. This one is a coarse grit. It's a 36 grit, so it's very aggressive. You certainly don't need something that aggressive. That's just kind of what I had in the angle grinder. Probably an 80 grit would be perfect. But I'm going to round over all of the edges and smooth out as much as I can all of those hard edges around the hat. And I'm going to round over the hat band and the rim of the hat as well. I'm also going to carve down the thickness of the hat and kind of make it merge into that hat band. And then I actually want to use that angle grinder to make a more distinguished line right along the top of that headband, so that the hat itself, when it meets the headband, is going to be thinner than the headband is. And then I'm going to round over the edges You'll see in a minute. I'll show you a close-up. It's a very quick process. Doesn't take long at all. You see how the hat is a little bit thinner than the headband when it meets up top, and then the headband is a little bit thinner than the rim of the hat. The next step is to go to an oscillating sander. I'm starting with an 80 grit, and I really just want to sand round over all of those rough edges left by the disc grinder, smooth out all of those heavy grind lines, get rid of all of those sharp edges, and just really smooth out the entire wood project. After I'm done with the 80 grit, I did go over the entire project with a 220 grit on the same sander. Exact same process. Once all of the sanding is done, it's time to either paint or stain the hat. Now I started with the inside of the clover, and I'm using a green stain. I really wanted the wood grains to show through on this project. I didn't want to cover anything with paint, but you can do it either way. You certainly don't have to go out and buy different color stains. I did a separate video that shows you how to mix up very small batches of very vivid color wood stain in a variety of different colors. And you can do it quickly and easily, and you just really start with a base of a natural wood stain. I'll put a link up to that video on this video. Anyway, I'm going to stain the top of the hat, and I'm also going to stain the rim of the hat in that same green. So the shamrock, the top of the hat, and the rim all get stained in green. And you can make this stain as dark as you want it or as light as you want it. I show you all that in the other video. And then, of course, just like any stain, once you've got everything covered in stain and you let it soak for a little bit, you wipe it off, and then you get those the wood grain showing through, which is really the effect that I wanted for this particular project. Now, the band on the hat, I'm going to stain black. Again, you could paint it black. There's no right or wrong way of doing this, but I stained it black. Just carefully used a small paintbrush, and that's basically it. It's a very, very simple project. The only thing I did in addition to the stain, after the stain dried, I did give it a real quick coat with a spray lacquer. But there you have it, the finished product. It's a Irish top hat, St. Patrick's Day decoration. Great for hanging on the wall or even on the front door as an entrance decoration. A very easy do-it-yourself St. Patrick's Day craft project. Please check us out on the web at DIYEasyCrafts.com. Be sure to check out our other how-to videos. And if you like this video, I ask that you please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this YouTube channel.